Salute, we're live. Welcome into the post-game show. Summer League Game 1 is in the books. Let's chop this thing up. The New York Knicks lost 101 to 110 to the Philly 76ers. They started out slow, but the Summer League Knicks fought back in the second half. Defense improved, and a couple of really bad calls from the refs, and we'll talk about it. Salute to everyone out here. Salute to the best chat. How we doing? Happy weekend. Let's have some fun. Talk about this game and what we saw, what we liked, what I didn't like. And I appreciate everyone for rocking along. But yeah, there was some ups, there was some downs. There was more downs, obviously, as the New York Knicks, we knew didn't have a very strong summer league team. But, there were some things I liked that we'll talk about. But overall, the Knicks shooting was atrocious. Could not hit an outside shot all game. And what seemed like the Philly 76ers were hitting nothing but net. Very experienced summer league team, I would say, in terms of NBA experience and talent in comparison to the New York Knicks. But obviously there was a close eye. There was going to be that eye on Trevor Keels, Isaiah Roby, Daquan Jeffries, Jalen Martin, and some other guys that made some impressions in college. We'll talk about that. But yeah, in terms of a rapid recap, I saw no point guard play from the New York Knicks. Trevor Keels struggled creating. So did Jalen Harris. The Knicks just did not have an offensive creator. Trevor Keels is not a point guard, and that's for sure. 6'4", I don't know. Has he grown a little bit? 6'5". I think those rumors were put to bed. He didn't look that much taller, but he definitely did look like he was carrying a little bit of extra weight. Trevor Keels, we know he's quite stocky, but he was not able to create a shot. So the Knicks just didn't get that point guard play in order to create a shot. But what they did was they used their defense to create some offense later in the game. It was nothing but Daquan Jeffries keeping the Knicks alive in that first quarter, in the second quarter. But Daquan Jeffries sat most of the second half. I think he sat all of the fourth, a lot of the third as well. But Daquan Jeffries was the clear standout from the New York Knicks in terms of his experience, ability to hit a shot, his hops, skying high for those jams. Had a huge alley-oop that he rose up but unable to lock that one down. It was so high, the pass. But Jalen Martin on the fast break was something pleasing to see as well from tonight. 19 years of age. I thought his on-ball defense definitely stood out. That 8-second violation that should have been called was missed. The New York Knicks would have had a chance to maybe win this game, to steal this game. It's a 9-point win, a loss, but it was closer than that. Of course, the Knicks fouled late. But how's everyone feeling about this, what they saw tonight? Isaiah Roby was disappointing. I think in the first quarter, especially, he did not even see the ball. They did not even feature him, which was probably my biggest surprise of the first half. Isaiah Roby, the most experienced NBA guy, didn't even really get any shots. When he when he was given the ball, he was able to do a few things, but Isaiah Roby was fairly unimpressive tonight in Game 1. And the Knicks play tomorrow night as well, so we'll look at that. But Springer, Taquavian Smith from Philly were all over the place. They had a solid all-round game. In terms of Trevor Keels, Jalen Martin, those two guys, a lot of spotlight were going to be on them on the perimeter. But I thought Jalen Martin was more impressive than Keels. So I never overreact to Summer League. It's Game 1. But that's just what we saw tonight. Yeah, but Daquan Jeffries had 20 first half points. He's definitely in a league of his own in terms of the Knicks team. Jalen Harris made some nice plays. Again, he's not a a solid point guard with good dribbling skills. He got trapped a few times, lost the ball, but he made up for it with a couple of hustle plays, um, second chance opportunities, loose balls, all of those things. The Knicks were playing hard, definitely, outmatched in terms of talent, but you know, um, Philly's got a good young core, as we saw tonight. Um, but yeah, the Knicks aren't prioritizing the summer league situation, as we know. Um, the regular team made the Elite Eight, but it was good to see some New York Knicks ball. First and foremost, I thought Foster definitely made a few boneheaded plays as the Knicks were coming back. Missed a lot of free throws, so Foster was pretty unimpressive. But Charlie Brown was very impressive. Good size, good length. Was very smooth off the break, finishing in traffic, and defensively. I think, defensively, with the Knicks were better tonight out of anything in the second half, especially. Like I said, we're able to create some offense and lack of point guard play. Um, but the shooting, Philly shot the lights out in the first half. Um, let's go through the box score as well, and we'll bring that up on screen. What did you guys see? Almighty says Trevor Keels is trash. Second round pick. I'm not expecting a lot from Keels, but yeah, I mean, would have been good to see some more, from him. But yeah, he's just he's just unable to create a shot. He has that simple sort of go to his right move with his right hand. He can't really go left, forces it into traffic, and all of that. So that's what we saw from Trevor Keels. Really, I didn't really see any part of his game or any wrinkles that kind of looked like they were new, something that he added. Um, but it's one game. We'll see how he fares going along. But yeah, you see the stats there on screen. Charlie Brown, like I said, finished with 17. Um, Foster with 12. Daquan Jeffries in 21 minutes lit it up with 20 points. And, it's no surprise with me with Jeffries. He was on the Knicks regular roster, and, of course, you don't get a regular roster spot unless you deserve it. So he's the best player in the Knicks Summer League, 25 years of age, 6'5". Jeffries has got hops, he got a decent jump shot. As you see, he shot 1 of 3 from 3. The best performance offensively tonight. 4 rebounds as well, 20 points. And then, it was a very pleasing, especially fourth quarter. If you are going to watch any part of this game, just watch the fourth quarter in terms of if you're looking for Jalen Martin glimpses, highlights. Defensively, he got, even the announcers were talking about his length. He's 6'6", only 19 years of age, got ability to grow as well into his body. And he looks like a player worth keeping on the two-way, 100%. That's what I gathered after just one game. Jalen Martin's a dude who you want to keep to continue to develop. Maybe Charlie Brown continues to impress some people with his finishing in traffic, finishing on the break as well. Isaiah Roby, one game in, I want to see more, but I'm unimpressed. I thought he would be the clearest standout. A dude who's scored 30 points in games in the NBA before. He's had 4 seasons in the NBA. Of course, he's bounced around. The New York Knicks and a lot of teams, feel like he's got a lot of NBA talent worth keeping in the league. The Knicks gave him guaranteed money, but we need to see better performances from Isaiah Roby for him to, be in contention to win backup minutes. We saw Tom Thibodeau, we saw William Wesley, and we saw Gerson Rosas alongside Hartenstein on the sideline. Those guys were watching with keen interest. As a Buzzer, salute, appreciate you. leads into that question. Yeah, I didn't see enough to say definitely that Isaiah Roby is going to win back up 4 minutes. He was very unimpressive. Uh, but I preface that by saying in the first quarter, he basically barely touched the ball. Um, Again, goes back to my key takeaway from the Knicks. No point guard play. Just, I mean, Jalen Harris, Trevor Keels, there was no true point guard. It's summer league. It's basically pickup ball. Um, but when Isaiah Roby was put in the right spot, he was able to finish in traffic, was able to create a little bit. But in terms of, Michael Foster had a few glimpses, but I mean, he doesn't look NBA at all. He doesn't look like an NBA talent after one game. Um, got a few bang bang plays where we put it back in. The jump shot looks pretty ugly, a little bit too high, and I missed a couple of free throws that were key. Also, a really boneheaded decision. It was about a minute and a half remaining. The Knicks were only down 4, I think, and Foster tried to jack up a contested mid-range that had everybody kind of scratching their heads a little bit. So, maybe it was a little bit of nerves. So, but yeah, Foster, I was looking for him to see if he could give us some minutes at the backup 4, but he doesn't look like an NBA guy at this point. So, yeah, I'm looking at Isaiah Roby to see what he can do for the rest of this summer league. We play tomorrow night. I'm looking for Jalen Martin to step up. He's going to win a two-way spot, I feel, after tonight. There was the European big man, 25 years old. He's been a pro for a minute, but he had a solid first quarter, but he faded away. So, yeah, Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, and Jalen Martin for me were the three standouts. But it's just summer league. It's just game one. We might be getting some moves to come. I mean, it's very early in the off season. The streets are buzzing. Yeah, MIG. Charlie Brown was pretty nice. Good size, was smooth on the break. Um, Jason agrees. Yeah, outside of Brown and Jeffries and Jalen Martin's second half as well. I guess, Brown looks, Jalen Martin looks like he has the most raw talent, though, which is still positive, eye-opening. He's 19, came from overtime elite, so hasn't had any G League experience yet, no NBA experience, but just on raw talent, his on-ball defense, athleticism looks solid. That switch hands finish in traffic jam was beautiful from Jalen Martin as well. And of course, I thought he should have been rewarded for that 8-second count. He locked him down late. Did a lot more than some of these senior guys did as well. AP salute. I'm paying attention to J Mart. That's a nice name, J Mart. I don't think Keels did himself any favors, especially with Tibbs there watching. Yeah, you could say that 1,000 times. Say that again. And again, it's game one. We'll see what happens. 4 more games remain. The Knicks play tomorrow night. But yeah, I'm looking for at least Keels to, show some flashes. But there was slim pickings tonight from Trevor Keels. Now, he didn't really shoot the ball a lot. As you see his attempts, he was 1 of 6. So yeah, it's not like he shot a lot. As you see, Daquan Jeffries had 14 attempts. But yeah, it was pleasing to see Brown get a lot on the break. Jalen Harris took a few too many shots for my liking as well. Again, we didn't really feed the guys that were hot, or looking like, we're trying to really win this game. This was more of just first game, get everybody involved, pass the rock a little bit, and just get a feeling out process, I think, tonight. But of course, Philly had Taquavian Smith, Springer. That Stewart guy was with a hairstyle like Ja Morant. He was frustrating me. He was all over the place, fouling, getting up into dudes. So yeah, Philly's defense stood out to me. they really came hard. They came to play. They hustled. A lot of dudes crashing the glass, crashing the blocks, help side. That was big from Philly. Philly hit a lot of shots. Um, but I was kind of surprised that the Knicks made it a game. It was kind of basically if you were watching, you're about to fall asleep until the Knicks made it a little bit interesting. Um, got a few defensive stops. Got lucky a few times with Philly undisciplined, and they fouled the Knicks a lot of times when they shouldn't have fouled the Knicks, especially on the Brown and one finish. Well, if we hit our free throws, this would have been definitely a ball game. I think we would have probably got within one or even. But yeah, we missed timely free throws on the night. I think Foster was a big culprit with that one. I think he shot like 5 of 8 on that situation. Yeah, interesting to note. Also, you see the DNPs. That could be because we play tomorrow. So I really wanted to see Khalid more, and see what he looks like, and see what these other guys can give us. Race Thompson also, but we'll see if they get some burn. I don't know if Race will get some burn. I do think Khalid Moore will get some burn. Justin Hamilton has been around this setup for a minute. Bang US says Springer was impressive, but can he crack that roster makeup for James? Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Yes, it's make or break, I guess, for Springer. That's why I said these guys are pretty experienced. Um, yeah, like Nick said as well. I think Keels just didn't look in shape as well. I know that's kind of he's thick and he's built. He's always been that way, and it's early in the summer. But yeah, to me he didn't look that fit, that healthy to be playing point guard as well. He looks pretty heavy for me. Uh, Jason asked, what exactly do they see in Keels and hope to develop? Um, I think it starts with the shot. You could always create more separation if the shot's more consistent. But Keels has never really been a shooter. He's been a slasher. And like to your point, if he can't get to the cup, can't get separation, that's going to be difficult if you're not hitting the shots. Salute Real King, what's good? Knicks won today. Best chat in the biz. How we feeling? Wayne says Roby sets good picks. I think that's an underrated skill that he can really elevate the second unit. He also rolls to the cup. Yep. Yeah, I've been watching highlights. Roby's separation, pick and rolling. Also, his ability to attack the closeout off the dribble is strong. So yeah, the most surprising thing for me tonight was Roby's quiet night. Again, they didn't really quite feature him much, and as you see, he didn't really play a lot of minutes either compared to some of these other guys. But yeah, he's definitely going to have to show a lot more if he's going to be seriously considered to get backup minutes. I mean, we know how capable Obi was, and he had to scratch and claw just to get any minutes. So nothing's going to be easy for Obi. Salute Felicia. Nobody on the roster is part of Tibbs's plan. 9-man rotation. Don't be too concerned about these guys. Yeah, we're watching for the future as well, because I really want the Knicks to make something of these two-way spots. We continue to have guys on there like Ferron Hunt, Jared Harper, Kenny Wooten, Moses Brown. We brought in for a hot minute. Jared Harper. Now we have Dwayne Washington. We got Toppin. We got Keels, and we got Jalen Martin vying for those 3 spots now. But if we can, we didn't have a draft pick this year, so it'd be nice if a guy like Jalen Martin can stick for the future, and we can actually, develop him to be a future rotation guy. But it looks like Trevor Keels. I would be pleasantly surprised if he turns it around. I'll put it that way. I never count no one out, but I will be pleasantly surprised if Trevor Keels can can make something of a career with the New York Knicks. Now he's pretty young, 19. You know, he might bounce around the G League a bit. Maybe needs to go overseas to play a little bit, gain some confidence. But he doesn't look like an NBA player for me right now, especially tonight. I said it in the previous show. I'm looking at guys that should be coming into summer league and should be looking more comfortable, given their talent, they were drafted, and their experience. Um, but yeah, Knicks basically, if Knicks had solid point guard play, they could have even won tonight. If Daquan Jeffries had played the entire second half, the Knicks may have had a good chance to actually win. So that speaks to the rest of the squad, but it speaks to Daquan Jeffries as well. So I want to give him a shout out. I felt he was the best player in a short stint. Um, athletic, hops, best outside shot on the team, a guy who could basically create. But 25 years old, he's a senior body, and he's a grown man. So he should be looking decent. Um, Sherwin says his keel 6'8". That's fiction. I can guarantee that. Well, if he was 6'8", he'd be looking nicer. But I think he looks more like 6'6", 6'5", 6'4" still. What's good, Jeremy? Salute. Vibe says Keels is bad at ball. Bodega highlights the comp that Keels had coming in, which was Lou Dort. Man, he's miles away from Lou Dort. Let me tell you that, fam. Yeah. AP was saying, Tibbs was probably saying to himself, go out and sign someone when it comes to that backup for a spot. No one on the floor is better than Toppin. I think it's guaranteed. It's a lock, fam. At the moment, if the roster stays the same, it's going to be Barrett and it's going to be Josh Hart. But with 4 more Summer League games to go, maybe a dude like Charlie Brown could supplant one of the other dudes for a two-way spot. He definitely looks like a dude worth developing. I mean, more smoother, more polished, Ferron Hunt kind of guy, but less athletic than Hunt was. But good size. He looks smooth as well. You could just tell finishing. He looked like the best finisher on the court. As you guys see, yeah, you guys saw it as well with Jeffries and Brown. But yeah, again, I really like Jalen Martin's second half as well. His confidence grew. The announcers even made note after he had that big drive and finish. J Mart's confidence got up. He started to isolate a little bit, try to get penetration and draw some fouls. So that's big for a 19-year-old kid. I think he's going to be someone who, has some better flashes as well in the next 4 games. Again, he was a pretty good standout for Overtime Elite. The competition is not good in Overtime Elite. High schoolers, probably Division 2 quality, but he was a standout as well. So he looks like he belongs for a young kid. We didn't see a lot of Garrett, but I thought Garrett's defense again, as a dude who came in with that reputation, he helped get the Knicks a couple of stops. He clamped down, got us a few steals. So that was good for Marcus Garrett. Defensively, Dice, Tibbs, the Knicks tried to use their defense to get back in the game, but offensively, we're not a good team in Summer League. We're not polished enough. We don't have enough shot creators as well. It was actually very surprising we, got within 4. I think with a few minutes to play, we made a couple of runs. I think Philly just got lazy. Yet continue to chop up the free agents out here. Christian Wood seems like he might be able to be had for the minimum exception or a veteran minimum. There's a lot of teams, circling for Christian Wood, and it's a skill set this Knicks team could need. There's a backup big that can shoot. Yeah, Farron Hunt. I think he's overseas now, fam. Yeah, that speaks to how difficult it is to make it in the NBA because he was a summer league standout and had all the flashes, the game, the size, the athleticism. But I think maybe the jump shot for Farron Hunt is not there, is not where it needs to be. I think the jumper is letting him down. But it tells you how different summer league is to the rest of the big league. I mean, if Trevor Keels looks like he struggles in summer league comp, then it's going to be very difficult for him to actually make the roster spot. Now, they might do him a solid and just keep him on a two-way, in hopes that he can develop something. He's 19, but in terms of being NBA ready this year, uh, I think you can rule out Trevor Keels getting a main roster spot. Um, Again, we're at 14 roster spots as well. We can add a 15th guy, but there's no point when we can keep these dudes on the two ways. Foster, like I said, was unimpressive, but he had some flashes, was able to finish a little bit around the bucket, but poor decision, poor defensively, and I didn't like his jump shot as well. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts of Roby tonight? I know he's probably going to have another better performance than he did tonight. He has to because, I've seen him do things in the league, but we also have to take into consideration that Philly's team was a pretty solid team in terms of guys with NBA experience. They were dogs defensively tonight. Yeah, Philly, we heard the coach, the bench shouting, hustling. It was crazy towards the end. Um, Philly's bigs were very mobile, were helping out and getting a lot of blocks. I think guys like Jalen Martin would have had 2 or 3 more finishes at the bucket without their shot blockers. Yeah, I think Keel's got the body to play football. Real facts. Shokan. Yeah, I think to play ball, I think he definitely needs to shed a few pounds from what I'm seeing. Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely agree, Nick. Um, Martin's worth keeping on a two-way at least, based off what I've seen. If there's a guy with some skill sets that's worth trying to develop more, especially a guy who's already 6'6", 19. He might be a guy that could grow to 6'7", 6'8". Um, but yeah, really looking like Roby may not be a lock to get any backup minutes at the 4. Um, he might even get waived. We'll see. But yeah, if he continues with performances like tonight, he'll get waived. I can guarantee you that, because yeah, I'm looking for a guy like him to stand out a lot more. So I'll bring up the chart. Yeah, the shot chart on screen. You see, the Knicks could not buy a bucket from deep. That was basically the ball game. You had Philly shoot the lights out. It's surprising it was only a 9-point ball game because the Knicks were able to get out and transition. Look at all the finishes at the bucket, but all the bricks. I mean, 3 made field goals from deep for the entire game is crazy. You could have teams hit 3 threes in 1 minute, and it took a whole 40 minutes for the Knicks to only have 3 pointers, 3 shots made from deep. So that speaks to basically our backcourt at the moment. Jeffries was the only dude. He hit one of them. Um, yeah, I think the Knicks used this first game to try to see what these other guys could do, because if you're really trying to win tonight's game, he would have played Jeffries a ton more because he was the Knicks' best player by a mile. But Trevor Keels, the jump shot was a concern for Trevor coming in. That's on his scouting report. He's a driver and a slasher. Um, if he wants to make the league, the 3-point shot has to get better. Yeah. Tom says Roby will be in Shanghai at some point. We'll see. He's situational at best, says Gerard. Yeah, he was terrible tonight. Let's keep it real. But I'm telling you, based on what I've seen, Roby has probably the most NBA highlights out of anyone on this team, right? He's put up 30 points in the NBA. He's put up a 26-point game. I think that the first quarter was just bizarre. Like, I was surprised. I was kind of watching in anticipation for somebody to pass Roby the ball. But no, I mean, I don't know if it's just him, the schemes. It was all a mess. The offense was just not being ran. The first quarter, Philly's defense was shutting everything down. But yeah, Isaiah Roby's strength is not necessarily creating. It's catch and shoot, attack the closeout, picking and rolling to the bucket, which he's pretty solid at. Like the chat said tonight, he sets decent screens. But we need to see more for him to take up a full roster spot. That's for real. And remember, the Knicks gave him guaranteed money last season. So that does says what they think about him, not just what we think tonight. But yeah, like I pointed out, like Tom said as well, yeah, Trevor Keels didn't look in great shape tonight. Yeah, Knick fans wanted to see more from him, given we don't have a draft pick. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of tomatoes thrown at Keels tonight after this performance. Look, Jacob Toppin playing would have been awesome to see another athletic guy, see what he could do. He probably would have been one of the best players on this team. Good question, fam. I think Toppin will probably lock up a two-way spot. Right now, he's not on a two-way. He's only on a training camp, Exhibit 10. So, but there's 3 two-way spots. And I'm certainly not wasting one on Trevor Keels based on tonight's performance. Keels has to play better to warrant another two-way spot. Definitely not a roster spot. So far, I would favor Jalen Martin, 1 two-way spot. Probably Daquan Jeffries and Charlie Brown after tonight. But I'd definitely keep Jalen Martin around 100%. Yeah, the big factor is minutes too, fam. Like Gerard said, we run a 9-man rotation. There are no minutes quite available, really. Which was, yeah, even if Roby, let's say Roby showed out tonight, yeah, he was still up against it. You know, this is Tom Thibodeau we're talking about. And there's probably only 10 to 12 point power forward backup minutes to go around. Don't forget, even a guy like Obi had to scratch and claw to get any minutes. So Isaiah Roby's still up against it. I think given the fact that Josh Hart is a better rebounder than most of these dudes, RJ Barrett is a pretty solid rebounder as well. You know, I like those guys more at the small ball 4. But I would like us to sign somebody just as insurance, you know, a Bol or someone, you know, even if it is Taj Gibson, just somebody who can play the proper 4, a traditional 4, break glass in case of emergency kind of situation. But they're most likely not going to get in the minutes. Yeah, Keith's on the money with this one too. You know, just exploring a little bit more of what other fans thought of Roby in San Antonio and OKC. They said he was a little soft down low. He's not a traditional big. More of a perimeter guy, a wing. But the thing is, he's 6'8", and he's got 7'1" wingspan. So San Antonio deployed Roby as a small ball 5 as well. He had a couple of nice blocks against the Joker when he was playing with San Antonio. So Roby, yeah, he's only 6'8", but he's got incredible length with his wingspan. So I don't know, he could play the 3, he could play the 4, and he could play a little bit of small ball 5. I think if you want to go real small with that. I think PJ is still available, Tom. Yeah, I think he's waiting to see. We're waiting to see where he's going to fall. But yeah, there's still some guys available. Montrezl Harrell signed with Philly. He would have been a decent energy a backup for. Um, I think a guy like Gorgie Jang, Dwayne Dedman, um, those kind of guys are still out there, just as a veterans minimum kind of guy. But like we said, let's face it, they're not going to see a whole lot of minutes. Um, if anything, I would probably prefer us to find a sharpshooting for, a Mike Muscala would have been nice to open the floor up a little bit, because you got Isaiah Hartenstein, who's a true 7-footer, who's going to be doing some things there. But yeah, that's the shot chart from tonight. If you missed the game, and I'll bring up some stats. We can have a look at that, break that down. So yeah, the Knicks actually won fast break points, so that's how they got back into the game. Couldn't hit the backside of the barn from deep, but got 16 fast break points. As you see, the biggest lead, Philly was 16. The Knicks only had a 6-point lead at some point. That was basically in the first 2 minutes of the game. 19 turnovers. That lets you know right there. Jalen Harris, Trevor Keels, Daquan Jeffries. No point guard. Nobody's a point guard on this team. Now, did they just not bother trying to find someone to try to give us some more minutes? They didn't even reach out to Rokas, but he said he wasn't going to come anyway, because he just won the Euro League with his team, and he knows he's not going to get any minutes with the Knicks right now. So why would Rokas even want to come over? But yeah, the 19 turnovers was trash tonight. There was the points in the paint, 62 though as well. So yeah, the Knicks got a lot of putbacks, but shot a lot of air balls, like Tom says too. We shot a heck of a lot of air balls, man. You saw we only made 3-pointers, so it was trash tonight. But if they really wanted to win, they would have played Jeffries more. But I'm glad, they featured Martin a little bit more. So I'm kind of hoping tonight was more of just, let's get everybody loose. Let's get everybody some minutes, share the rock a little bit. And as Summer League continues, let's start to feature some guys that we want to see more of. We want to see more from Jalen Martin. I want to see more from Charlie Brown. Obviously, Roby's on a regular roster spot, so even if tonight was trash, you want to give Isaiah Roby another chance, more usage, just to see what he can do. But yeah, the Knicks started out pretty solid, 28-27 first quarter. Then the second quarter, it went all downhill. From there, Philly started raining buckets. The Knicks point guard play, the Knicks offense got shut down. Too many turnovers. Then we broke even in the third, 26-26, and we almost won the second quarter as well. So, I mean, yeah, 9-point loss isn't as bad as it looks when you consider we won the first quarter, we drew the third quarter, and only lost the fourth quarter by 1 point. And the refs bailed Philly out twice as well. There was 2 bailout calls. One non-call and 1 bailout call. That foul on Harris late barely touched the guy, and they were calling that. And then, of course, J-Mart locked down. So yeah, overall, like again, no clear real standout for the New York Knicks. We know what it is. But if I take away something, I'll take away some defense. I think we showed some fight. But yeah, boy, did our offense stink. We're unable to create, unable to even hit a shot. Like Tom said in the chat, it was air balls for days. I've never seen that many air balls. Even guys hitting the side of the iron, the side of the backboard. Some of us in the chat could have laced it up and swished a couple compared to what we saw tonight. Yeah, a pretty weak Summer League squad. It would have been nice to see Jacob Toppin. All this talk about Obi and a lot of fans feeling upset, frustrated with Obi's departure. it would have been nice to see another Toppin kind of light it up a little bit. But look, we got 3 solid takeaways in terms of players, and that's what I kind of expected. I was hoping one of them would be Keels, one of them would be Roby, but at the end of the day, they end up being Daquan Jeffries and Charlie Brown with Jalen Martin. So I'll live with it. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. We keep it moving. But yeah, I didn't really see a lot of offense. I know Dice is a disciple of Tibbs. Didn't really see much movement. I think they stymied us a lot, and guys were picking up their dribble, looking for the pass, and then just having to give it up in the passing lane for an easy turnover. It was playing into Philly's hands nicely. But look, if Philly is the toughest team, the best team we play, I could still see us winning a few games. Roby might have a breakout. Daquan Jeffries is going to continue to ball out. Maybe Martin has a breakout game. Lord knows Trevor Keels needs a breakout game or a solid game with that. What do you guys think? We're going to win one Summer League game? Or do you think we'll go 0-4? Tom says Martin's a decent project. Jeffries is an okay bench guy. Yeah, I think that lets us know why they kept Jeffries on a regular roster spot too. I think in a crunch, he could give you some minutes with his experience. He's 6'25", 6'5", got good hops, and just looks more polished. I think more years in the G League, more years in the setup. I think if J Mart gets a couple years in the G League two-way, he could definitely find himself with a regular roster spot. I feel they don't teach his ability to finish, and in traffic, his confidence as well at 19. That stuff from Jalen Martin was probably my play of the game, just because he was able to change hands, midair. He's got a really confident pivot, hop step as well, Euro step, hop step. He's very patient, getting that elevation. Kyle says no, don't see us winning a Summer League game. Yeah, no first round picks, David. Definitely. We're all about the two-way development slots, I think, at this point. I mean, Jeffries, based on what he showed tonight, I would have no problem with Jeffries being the 14th man. What I might have an issue is if Roby is the 13th man. Isaiah Roby could get cut. I mean, we're trying to win with this team. I'm sure there are plenty of veterans. We could still look at that tonight on the free agent tracker, just to see if there's some free, veteran free agents with the minimum that you would replace with Roby. The thing with Keels is, positional height and weight aside, he lacks a go-to move. He lacks a particular skill with the ball, with his handles, but he's usually good at putting his head down, getting to the cup in college. But that's so predictable. When you're going up against NBA level defenders and dudes who can guess right where you're going to go into your right hand all the time. I think Trevor Keels just needs a pull-up move. When he does try to get to the cup with his head down, if he can stop quickly and pull up and have a consistent jumper, is his best chance, I think, to stick. Because it's not like he has a crossover dribble or, another post-up fadeaway go-to move or something like that. It's look out, I'm coming, head down, barreling to the cup. But, a lot of turnovers as well, turnover prone and fumbling. Also, it'd be upsetting, but I wouldn't put it past, this situation to actually, the Knicks putting him in the wrong situation because he's not a point guard. So what are they asking him to do in Summer League? Create for others? He can't even create for himself with his skill set. Trevor Keels to me is not a point guard. He's a two, if he is any position, a two, maybe a three. But he's a two that can't really shoot either. So it's kind of crazy. Um, yep, that up and under brick was a disappointing move. Roby has looked better in highlights. Obviously, they're highlights, but yeah, in the NBA, he's shown the ability to finish in traffic. But the finesse element with that missed layup was bad. Yet Toby agree. Charlie Brown was decent. Yep, let's see if he can continue some consistency. Uh, See, with summer league, you have certain dudes that are kind of worthy of being in and out of the league. They'll have one good game, then they'll have a solid game, then a couple bad games. What I'm going to be looking for, like if Charlie Brown is someone we could keep and develop, is can he be consistent? Like what he gave us tonight, is that his calling card? Is that what he's going to give us tomorrow night and going ahead as well? Daquan Jeffries is going to be pretty consistent, I feel. Also, the same applies to Martin. If he can, flash the same things that he was giving us tonight, moving ahead, then that's promising. Um, Dirty says still pissed at the Spurs and the Rockets for not trying to get Reeves. So dumb. Yeah, a lot of people monitoring their cap situations at this point as well. Um, Kyle says he wants to give us Harden for RJ in the 2024 first round draft picks. Looking like the Knicks inquired about Harden, but look the other way, I think, now. Two ball dominant in terms of we have Jalen Brunson already. If we didn't have Jalen Brunson, it might be more considered. But I think if we're not even going after Dame as much as reported, so I doubt the Knicks would have any interest in Harden anymore as well. But of course, he is expiring as well, so it seems like we don't have to give up as much as what people think. Yeah, Jeffries looks ready to keep a roster spot. I agree with that. Let's see if he's more consistent. Moving ahead. So yeah, we looked at the chart again. Yeah, the shooting was the big key for me tonight. That was the difference. If the Knicks shot the ball better, we would have had a good chance to actually win the ball game. I think our finishing in transition was better. We got probably a little bit more length with the Browns, the Martins, the Robies, those guys. I think just the rough point guard play with Jalen Harris, Trevor Keels, there's way too many forced turnovers, trying to drive right into the defender, and not enough swinging the ball around. Like I said, I mentioned I probably evaluate Roby's second, third, and fourth quarter, but Roby's first quarter, if you watch it again, he barely touched the ball. He might have touched the ball 3 or 4 times in the entire first quarter, which for a dude who's had more NBA seasons and minutes than anybody else was baffling, absolutely baffling. What these speaks to these other dudes just trying to show out with we're trying to show that they're not a point guard. But yeah, the Dante DiVincenzo move, the Hart move, we got quickly still. There ain't any minutes. Let's keep it real. The only spot that can be won to get any legit minutes is at the backup four, and even then, I think it's looking slim. It's going to be probably RJ, probably Josh Hart play some as well. And don't forget, Tibbs likes him some Jericho Sims also, so I won't be surprised if Jericho, is also factored into that situation. Let's not forget about him. Um, so yeah, pulling up the box score again, fam. Um, I like Marcus Garrett's defense, um, but yeah, we really missed an opportunity to hit some free throws, which would have made it interesting. Also, Foster was the main culprit, missing a double. at a very critical time of the game. But yeah, the clear standout, 20 points in 21 minutes from Jeffries. He was getting fouled, shooting threes, had the most finishes in traffic, hops, um, the best jump shot. The best defense tonight probably goes to Martin, Garrett, Charlie Brown. They forced some turnovers. Charlie Brown got 3 steals. Salute to him. Garrett got 1 steal. Roby forced the steal, and J Mart should have forced a turnover. It was a turnover, but the ref did not call the 8-second violation, which was critical point of the game. And the crowd was going crazy. Talk about, is there any doubt who the best fans in the world are? We're talking about Trevor Keels, dudes that we don't even know their names. And the crowd's juiced up, cheering on a 19-year-old undrafted free agent from OTE, Jalen Martin. Gotta love summer league. If I got to experience it in person. I've heard everyone sort of tell me that, for those that can get in there, go see it. You get good value. You travel around, you see all these different games, young players. The Knicks don't have any high end drafted talent at this point. But obviously we miss Jacob Toppin, which would have added a lot more excitement to this team coming from Kentucky. Yeah, the Knicks showed some fight. They showed some dog. At least they didn't get blown out. They fought back in the second half. But the shooting, the offensive talent is just not there with this team. So we play tomorrow night. I have not peeped yet who we are playing, but I do think that it's a situation where the Knicks probably not going to face it as tough of a team as we did with Philly. But yeah, we'll see. I thought, this Jalen Harris block was good. He made some hustle plays. The help side block. Again, the Knicks were solid on defense overall in the second half. It was more so the first half that lacked. So we have the updates now. We've got the free agent signings coming through being official. Dante DiVincenzo, officially a New York Knick. Looks like he's going to wear number 0. Yeah. Agent 0, Dante, comes in. Going to get a lot of minutes. We know how much Tom Thibodeau loves Josh Hart. Very similar pedigree with Dante. We've heard some thoughts from the Warriors fan base. I've heard some thoughts from the Milwaukee fan base, and Dante gets after it defensively, knows where to be in passing lanes. He's just going to be a guy that doesn't just influence the game on the offensive side, but both sides of the ball. Is going to have him being a Tom Thibodeau kind of favorite. Yet, relating to the rest of free agency, Toby's on point. A lot of these dominoes are going to fall after Dame and Harden trades. So look for some buyouts. Yep, 100%. We saw a trade go down, which was eye-opening. A Sam Presti, a genius as well, stroke of genius. Basically traded the expiring $6 million contract of Patty Mills, a veteran who, OKC don't really need. But what did they turn Patty Mills into? They turned him into Ty Washington, Usman Garuba, and a second-round pick. All of that for Patty Mills. Also, the other move, they turned cap space into a couple of other second-round picks for free as well, just using cap space. So they basically got Garuba, Ty Washington, and 4 second-round picks for free. And we gave Obi Toppin away for 2 second-round picks, a marginal starting NBA rotation player for 2 second-round picks. So that just shows you that there's still work to be done. A lot of people fairly criticize the front office as well. There are some moves that, they operate not as clever as the rest of the league in some instances. But yeah, Sam Presti is one of the best to do it. So yeah, Paddy Mills, my fellow Aussie, he's been traded 3 times in 10 days. Man, if I was him, I would just be calling my agent saying, man, I know I'm expiring contract. Just tell me where I'm going to be. I don't want to be traded again. So here we go. 14 minutes ago, the in-season tourney dropped, which starts November 3, looks like. So the Knicks appear to be in East B. So let's get it. Who are we up against? So East B is made up of Milwaukee, the Heat. Of course, they had to give us the Heat, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets. That's all right. I can get that. Yep. We can beat the Wizards. We can beat the Hornets. And we damn sure better beat the Heat. What are our feelings towards that? So starting November 3, all 30 teams will compete for the NBA Cup. They're calling it the NBA Cup, with 8 teams advancing to the knockout rounds, with that tournament semis and the championship game held in Las Vegas, December 7 and 9. So they're trying to get it out of the way early in the season, I feel, and let everyone focus on the actual Larry O'Brien. So that's interesting now. We'll see how it works. I mean, the play-in drew a lot of criticism when it first came in. It's proven to be fairly solid. So let's see what happens with this tournament. You guys give us a thumbs up if you want the tournament, if you want to see what it's all about. The NBA Cup. Imagine if the Knicks won an NBA Cup before they won their next Larry O'Brien. That'd be crazy. So yeah, Dante DiVincenzo does bring the shooting, lights out shooting as well from deep. He's a shot maker, and we need more of them. So, for $12 million is not the biggest need, not the best fit, but I'm not down on the move. I'm okay with it. It's a case of you try to get the talent you can get in. If it's a signing for free, he's going to help our team. But I get it. I also feel like, the Knicks need longer wings as well. It's just fortunate that the league is going more small. The league is going small ball. There aren't that many 6'8", 6'9" wings anymore. But also, don't think people should forget about Barrett, because he's 6'7". He might be growing a little bit still. 6'7.5". Got size. I think RJ Barrett really is our wing at this point in time. So yeah, that's how the pools are done. The Knicks are in East B against Milwaukee. It's knockout round in the semis and then the championship game. So out of East A, we've got Philly, Cleveland, ATL, Indiana, and the Pistons. So that's a pretty smooth route for Philly, if I'm looking at it. Well, we don't even know what Philly are going to look like, so I retract that. Free agency ain't done, but Cleveland have definitely helped themselves, getting Strauss and getting Georges Niang. So that's giving them some shooting that they badly needed. Now, East C, the Boston Celtics, Toronto are pretty trash without a point guard at this stage, without a quality starting point guard. Chicago, Orlando, and the Nets, the New Jersey Nets. So I would expect Boston to get out of that one easy. East B is probably the toughest, right in the middle. Milwaukee and the Heat. We have to beat those other 2 teams. They're group draw results. So what that means is they're going to be part of the regular season games that we play. against those teams, and that's going to count for the group game. So I'm assuming, um, yeah, I'm assuming 2 come out of each group. If that makes sense. Let me just double check the other one. Yeah, so we play the 4 games against Milwaukee, the Heat, Charlotte as well, and the Wizards. And then the winners that come out of that group into the wild card round, the knockout. Yep. So yeah, 2 teams. 2 teams from each group. The NBA Cup. I know players get paid some, but I think it's going to take a lot of time for fans to come to grips with getting their head around it. That was another nice finish from Jalen Harris. Um, this was early in the game. The European big man didn't do much else after this, but he had that nice spin move to finish it. That was very early in the game. The Knicks did not do too much after that. Um, yeah, the Dante DiVincenzo move is final, and we're waiting on a couple of other, ripple effects around the league. Like, I think Dame's definitely going to find himself in Miami. James Harden, though, remains to be seen. What are your thoughts on James? The Clippers still want him pretty bad, but that's going to be an interesting fit with him, with Paul George, and with Kawhi. Yeah, EC is absolute garbage. Yep. Boston's coming out of that group, 100%. But yeah, I think this is going to be a huge year for the Knicks' 2 starting wings. And I wanted to speak on this about, the Knicks think of their acquisition, their improvement as just being Dante DiVincenzo this year. And what else have we done? But that's not going to be the biggest reason the Knicks can take that next level. It's got to come from RJ Barrett and or Quentin Grimes, the New York Knicks starting 2 guard and starting 3, because we probably know what Jalen Brunson's going to come here and be. We know what he brings. We know what Julius Randle is going to bring and what he doesn't bring on some nights, and we know what Mitchell Robinson brings on his best night. But the inconsistency of Grimes and Barrett, right? If they can become more consistent, let's say RJ Barrett, he starts the season pretty slow generally, but coming in, if he can start the season more consistent, start the season even hot, improve the shooting, it's going to be a big off season for RJ Barrett and Canada getting some reps in FIBA. He might even be going up against Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson in FIBA. So yeah, if Barrett can have a great summer and come in, add to his game, take that confidence he took from the playoffs, come in and hopefully start the season better, then I think the Knicks are still looking good for 50 plus wins. The other one is Quentin Grimes, a dude who's got a lot of fans in the front office. The fan base is high on Quentin Grimes. 3rd year, big year coming up. It's time for Quentin Grimes to really take that next step consistency wise. I'm not saying he needs to come in and shoot 45% from 3. That would be great. But if Quentin Grimes can just be more consistent, stay healthy, be a solid, I don't know what's reasonable, 14, 15 points per game on 38% shooting and above, but just more consistent, then that's solid. That's going to help us a lot. Key says Grimes is that good that Leon went out and got Dante to replace him. I think he got Dante to add to the depth, but I don't know if it's to replace Grimes. But he will take Grimes's minutes. He will take some of Grimes's minutes if Grimes isn't consistent. That's what I was saying earlier. We know what Grimes can do, but also I'm giving him some time. I know a lot of people are expecting big things from him, rightfully so, but we can't forget he's also, only still in his third year coming in. And the third year is a very, very big year for dudes to come in and, and show what they can do. Yeah. So yeah, Dante's coming in. There we see, won the chip. Welcome to New York, fam. Coming in. Big finish there. Got some hops. Yeah, can create some offense too. That's another thing in the playoffs. We lack shot creation. Um, we lacked a guy who could, you know, um, make the defense move, move some guys around, or also drain the catch and shoot is very big. Not a lot of people talking about it at the time, but because Quickly wasn't having a very good playoffs, and they were down on Quickly. But I really think there was a really missed opportunity for Quick in game 4, 5, and 6. Um, if we just had Quickly alone, that might have been enough to beat the Miami Heat and advance to the next round. But with hopefully a healthy Quick and a DiVincenzo, that does improve the Knicks, right? Unequivocally, the Knicks are a better team. Now, you could argue they're not that much of a better team, but they're a better team coming in. But as I said earlier, the biggest reason the Knicks can be improved is because of Barrett and because of Josh Hart. Barrett and Quentin Grimes, not just because of DiVincenzo. That's you can't just look at this off season and say we're only going to be as good as what DiVincenzo can bring, because I'm hoping there's still development in RJ and in Grimes also. Yeah, Tom says Grimes got to work on that handle. Any ball pressure will shut him down. Yeah, that's a great point. That is a big area of improvement. If he wants to be a traditional 2 in the league, my ideal 2 has got to be a guy who can create a shot. You talk about the best of them, the Kobe's, the MJ's, Allen Houston's. If you want to be a starting 2 guard on a team that gets to the conference finals, or be a contention, you need to be able to create a jump shot. He does tend to pick up his dribble too often. Does Q dot as well. So I think they might not be fully sold on his next step yet. So that could also mean why DiVincenzo was brought in, but his experience is going to be big as well. Yeah, as JC says also, yeah, it is Dante's 4th team in 6 years. There's definitely something you can take from that, but I also think it doesn't mean he's deserved to be on 4 different teams, because if you ask the Warriors, if you ask Golden State, do they want to keep him? They definitely would have kept him. It was just the circumstance of his contract as well. I think also them unable to retain him. And this is the first big contract of his career now, a multi-year deal, which is big. So, yeah, a lot of fans fairly divided on the Dante acquisition, but we'll see. Remains to be seen how big his impact is going to be. But I agree, there's a lot of guys competing for minutes that are the same size, similar games, and that's going to be something that might not be that good for the team, because we need standouts. We need guys that can create shots and be elite at what they do. We don't need 4 guys that are just solid, We need also guys in other positions. We need a longer wing that can create a shot. We need a power forward and a center that can stretch the floor, ideally. So, who are some free agents out there that you would like to bring in? Someone mentioned Christian Wood. Christian Wood's a guy that, I don't know if he's going to be had for the minimum, but it's been a huge fall for Christian Wood, a dude who was on a decent contract. Now is kind of struggling to find a team. A lot of people saving their monies for other things. Yep, 110%. If we are staying pat with the roster as it is, IQ and RJ are going to be huge to take that next step. Again, IQ a pretty down playoffs, a very down playoffs, and RJ a couple of really bad playoff games and a couple of really good playoff games. So consistency is key. But I don't really see IQ here long term. I think the writing is still on the wall for me because Jalen Brunson, and yeah, paying a guy 100 milli or more is fine, in terms of contractually what he's worth, but fit wise, paying a backup that much money, I would rather spend that on a starting dude that we need. We talk about how underpaid Mitch is. It's coming up. Maybe not right now, but in 2 more years, Mitchell Robinson's going to be on a $12 million deal. His contract's descending. I like Dante's ability to create a shot. That's something I'm looking for, and I want to see that more from Grimes and Barrett. That's, I guess, if we address that issue of people saying, why is there so many wings that are very similar and size-wise and skill set? It's what, my biggest concern is that, maybe 3 of them, 4 of them can't create a shot. I need Quentin Grimes or Barrett or Dante to be able to create a shot. We know Josh Hart is what he is. He's not going to change a lot offensively. That his game is what it is. But yeah, in the playoffs, we saw it. Guys like Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent really surprised us because they were able to create a shot and hit shots as well. When our bench and our attack kind of fell apart, we know how much they keen on Julius Randle, and that I really like Emmanuel Quickley's ability to to get a shot and to to be a dude who can hit timely shots as well. Is he trustworthy? Is he reliable in the playoffs? The jury's still out because before he went down, he was having a pretty rough playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be a situation where I think IQ, if we can get solid value in terms of a 1v1 trade, sign and trade for another starting piece or pieces, or Emmanuel Quickley in a blockbuster deal, I think he's the most likely gone. If you think about it, he's the 6th man on the team, and if you're trying to upgrade your spot in your starting 5, you're going to end up trading your 6th man to make that upgrade. And we go back to what Grimes and Barrett offer. They both offer the kind of same things, and the New York Knicks need a little bit more shot creation, size at the wing. But yeah, going back to tonight, I like what Charlie Brown showed, and similar to what we had in Pharaoh and Hunt, we liked what he could do finishing on the break. Jacob Toppin is a name I wish we could see, but we're going to have to wait to training camp pre-season to see any of Jacob Toppin. Unfortunately, they say the injury is minor, but we have to wait and see because he does bring something different in terms of that wing spot. But yeah, I want to see the Knicks develop some players. We know a lot of the jokes out that Tibbs doesn't play a lot of these guys and so forth. But we don't know. Tom Thibodeau's not going to be here forever, Tom Thibodeau in 2-3 years might not be here. Jalen Martin's going to be 22. Jacob Toppin might be 26, then 25. So, yeah, there's some opportunities, and the Knicks just need to develop some guys. The Heat can do it. they can develop some undrafted guys. It's all about getting the most out of your roster spots in order to succeed in the league. And that, yeah, there is some other power forwards that I mentioned are available. There's Dwayne Dedman. There's Gorgie Jang. You know, there's some veteran big men where we could bring in to help us out. Tibbs will probably won't look any further than Taj Gibson. You know, if Taj wants to come back, but I hope we look in other directions, man. But yeah, Jalen Martin's stat line was 12 points, 3 of 8, 26 minutes, 0 of 3 from deep. Greg Popovich is extended with the Spurs for 5 years now. The performance of Wemby didn't deter him from sticking around, so 5 more years with the Spurs. All these signings becoming official. We wait. I don't think the Knicks are done. We're going to be doing a Burning Questions Part 2 coming up. We'll also be live tomorrow night after the game again, just to chop up, see what tomorrow night brings. But nothing too impressive from tonight outside of Daquan Jeffries and some solid performance from Martin and Charlie Brown. But yeah, it kind of killed a lot of buzz. The fact that we didn't have Rokas and we didn't have Jacob Toppin in this summer league, we really, tried to look forward to and hope that Trevor Keels can show us something. But tonight wasn't it. Trevor Keels kind of looked like the same player for me tonight. We'll see if he can bounce back and do something else. But yeah, his game's fairly rigid. We used the second round pick in the 40s. It is what it is. He was the biggest disappointment. The second biggest disappointment was Isaiah Roby. Just 7 points, 3 of 8 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers, and a steal in 26 minutes. So I may have been someone who overrated Roby a bit more. Maybe he's not NBA level at this stage. Maybe he's going to be in and out of the league still. People were telling me there's a reason OKC and the Spurs still waived him. But yeah, the in-season tournament is announced officially. The Knicks are in at East B coming up. The Knicks are in East B. We're facing the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Wizards, and the Hornets. Yeah. The way I look at it, I feel like it's it's down to us and the Bucks and the Heat. Obviously, I think Philly, the Cavs, will battle it out for East A, and the Boston Celtics will probably run away with it in East C. Nothing's impressing me in East C. It's trash. We'll see what the Rockets can do. The Raptors can do. There's a situation now where OG Anunoby is available on the block. There's a situation where Pascal Siakam is definitely available. I think Masai Ujiri is going to do something. He has to do something. Right? Are they rebuilding? Are they going all in? They lost Fred VanVleet. They're stuck in the middle. Buzzer is not feeling this intra-season tourney. Yeah, I can understand you. I think it's going to take a little bit. It happens in all competitions, and I've seen it before in other sports as well. Anytime they introduce a rule change or a new team or a new format, it takes a little bit of time to adjust. Again, we'll see. The first team that wins it is going to be the happy one. They're going to claim that they're the best team, etc. But it's going to take a little while for any fans to get on board. I think it's all about TV rights. It's about extra revenue. the thing I like the most about it is that, only one team wins something every year. 29 teams and fan bases are left empty-handed. So to me, it adds something else where at least the second team every year is going to win something. Now, it may not mean much, but if they end up with, a prize, I'm not sure exactly what the right prize are. I know the players are playing for extra money. Um, I don't know if it's draft picks as well, but yeah, it's just basically, at least it's not extra games, outside of the knockout round. At least the group games are just a part of, you know, regular season play. What's good, Geraldine? How we feeling? Roby will not play one game with us. He didn't even sign a two-way with us. Yeah, he hasn't signed the two-way. He's on a actually regular roster spot at the moment. But based on tonight, I think there's a significant chance we could replace him. But also I think it's they're be open to running it into training camp as well. Kyle thinks Jarrett Allen would be good for us. I think we're good with Mitch at this stage, but I do think Cleveland might end up looking in other directions in terms of replacing Allen. What's good, Geraldine? Again, you explain to me why Tibbs was sitting on the bench with the Summer League coaching staff. Other head coaches are there, but not there sitting with the coaching staff. I think it looked like Tibbs was with the coaching staff, but he was sitting front row, but I think he was sitting more in the center court with Isaiah Hartenstein as well. But he's casting an eye on probably Trevor Keels, Roby, and some of these other guys. Yeah. I feel like there are teams that feel like IQ can be a starter in the league. And that's what's going to get us some value in a bigger trade for IQ at the end of the day. The fact is we hit on that draft pick, and he is, outside of the playoffs, he's shown that in the regular season, in small patches, that IQ can be a starting player worth developing. So I think that's why, a lot of teams are going to take a flyer on Quick. Certainly teams that they won't be taking a flyer on is Trevor Keels, based on tonight. The biggest disappointment. The Knicks did not have point guard play, shot atrociously as well. You need shooting in this league. You need shooting to be able to win. And the Knicks only hit 3 3-pointers all night. On the flip side, Philly shot the lights out and defended pretty well. Their help defense was great. Made it difficult even, getting finishes in the cup at the rack. But the Knicks defense clamped down. They did fight back, got some foul calls as well, clawed their way back into the game. Daquan Jeffries' first half kept the Knicks in it. Jalen Martin and Charlie Brown helped the Knicks finish well. Jalen Harris made a couple of decent plays towards the end, but he's not a point guard that I see getting any minutes. Couldn't, again, create a shot. Foster wasn't impressive. The Ukrainian Euro big man wasn't impressive either. Garrett was solid. I think Garrett had some defensive stops, but again, he couldn't create a shot either as well. So, yeah, we get it tomorrow night. We'll get ready to wrap this thing up. Appreciate everyone for rocking out. Right, it's New York Knicks ball still. We're looking forward to what happens in this season. It's going to be a big season, right? But the off season is now. What do the Knicks do? I think changes are going to come still. I still think the Knicks are surveying the league to see if the price is right. That's what it's all about. There's players that they like, but is the price right? The latest reports are from Ian Begley, SNY, that they're standing firm on what they think is a reasonable package, and it's either up to the other teams to accept it or kick rocks. Because I think, yeah, we're happy going into the season as currently constructed, knowing that there's still the trade deadline. There's still other opportunities as well, but that doesn't stop them from searching. There's going to be some moves that they're going to explore still. It might be just a Fournier to open up cap space, get a Kelly Oubre. Might be a trade, a Fournier and a Quickly to bring in another ready-made veteran. It may not be a star. Appreciate everyone. The streets are buzzing, smashing that like button. The Knicks lost their first Summer League game. Let's see what they do tomorrow night. We'll be live again post-game. Appreciate you. Shout out to Replay Gang. Shout out to EJ. And shout out to Knicks Nation as well, the best fan base in the biz. And have a great night. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.